Hi everybody, welcome back to Afro Beauty Braids channel. We will be braiding and I will be chit-chatting as we go along. If you are new to this channel and haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, and if you're not and haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. As you can see, I will be box braiding my daughter's hair. I washed it a few days ago and did some single plaits, as you can see, to let it dry. I can't use a dryer because it breaks her hair. I think she has a 4C hair type, and that's her length. Okay, we will be using the Brazilian yarn, and we'll be doing some big box braids. Journey with me. Okay, so now that I've taken out her braids, the single plaits that I did after washing her hair, I am combing through her hair very gently. As you can see, the comb is a big tooth comb, so I'm just being very careful not to tug on her hair because we don't want to be breaking her hair. Okay, so I'll comb through it, and eventually I'll use some water to soften it up, and then some our hair butter. And I think I need to share the recipe of our hair butter very soon in the future. Yeah, just keep watching. So very gently and being very tactful. As you can see, I cut the lines from ear to ear, just in case I'm not able to finish her whole head. Braiding. I don't have to have all her hair hanging around. So what I've done is cut a line ear to ear very strategically, and I'm taking out portion by portion. The portion that I'm going to braid is what I'll be undoing one at a time. So as you can see, I have done 2 box braids at the back. I don't want to be braiding all day or for so long. Kids have a very short attention span, so she doesn't want to be sitting there for the rest of the day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some big box braids just to give her a break. I will let you watch, as you can see, the technique that I taught you last time, the 3 loops, and then you start to do the tuck-in technique. Okay, so as we go along, we tuck in. I won't do much talking because I would rather you watch what I'm doing, and hopefully you have a good visual of what's going on. Sometimes it's really hard to position the camera and get a good visual. As you can see, she's helping me with her fingers to make sure that as I braid down, I'm not tugging on her skin. The hair is not being pulled. So she helps me with that bit. That's why you see her fingers at the back to hold the braid in place, and so it's not tugging that much. So as we go along, I braid down her hair. As you know, I have to exceed the length of her hair. Her hair is quite long, so I have to go all the way and a little bit further than where her hair stops. As you observe, I'm still doing the same, it's the same technique, the tuck-in technique. And like I said, she helps with holding her hair so that as I braid along, it doesn't tug on her skin, okay? Hopefully, as you see, I'm combing my hands through the hair, like my fingers, not my hands. I'm taking my fingers through the hair to detangle, the braiding hair, because her hair is covered into the braiding hair. And I'm also dividing the hair as I go along to make sure that all my 3 portions are the same, like equal quantity. We don't want one smaller than the others or one way bigger than the others, otherwise it will not give me a beautiful braid. Okay, so as I'm finishing the braid at the bottom, I will have to make a knot so that the braid doesn't unravel. As you can see, it's a long braid. as I was braiding along, coming to the end, I see some stray hairs from the braiding hair that I will need to get a small scissor and trim it off, just to have a good clean head. Moving along, we start with the next braid. So it's the same technique. I'm sorry, I kind of got in the way of the camera, but there you can see now. With my 3 portions, I'm tucking in as I go along. Same thing. And as I get to the end of her hair, now I have to make sure that I have the same length in terms of the braids. So as I braid, I look at the 2 braids that I did before and make sure that I'm not doing any other braids that are shorter than that or longer than that, just to maintain the same length and a very good look. Yeah. So moving along now, you're going to have a good look, like I am at a good spot. I haven't been showing you how I prepare the hair before I actually braid it. So here we go. I am making a line from up to down, and I want to show you how I'm aligning these boxes. They're not in a straight line going down. I'll show you what I mean. Just watch my fingers, because I ran short of words of how to explain, but you will see the demonstration. So I tuck away the hair that I'm not working with, clip it with the rest of the hair, and you're about to see what I mean. So if you see the line that I just drew, it's not aligned with the box that's below that. It's kind of off, and that's very intentional. So that way you have a style that doesn't look like you have so many gaps. The box braids are well spread on the head. Okay, this is how I prep the hair. I spray. That's just water. And I just spray, make sure that the hair is saturated, which is very important. Before you braid, make sure that your hair is well fed, well moisturized. So my daughter's hair has a tendency of getting dry at the tips, so I make sure that the tips are really, really well hydrated. Now I'm applying the butter as I go along, and make sure it's so well saturated or hydrated. So I make sure the lines are well. There you go. So those are the tips. That's how I know that I've done a good job with moisturizing her hair. And then I go through the lines just to make sure that, like I said before, I don't use jam or gel. Barely use that. So with my daughter, I don't even use it, because it creates buildup on her scalp, and then it starts to get itchy. So what I do is I use water, like I showed you before. So here we go. I comb through with that small comb now, because I know that every single strand in that small box is detangled, so I don't have to worry about her hair breaking. So before you try that at home, make sure your hair is well detangled. If anything, stick to the wide tooth comb. Okay, there we go. We have our 3 portions, and we start to tuck in, as you see. I'm sorry, there's a lot of adjusting, whether with the camera or with my daughter, just to make sure that you have a good visual of what's going on. As you can see, I keep separating the hair to make sure that the portions are all equal. Okay? I'll let you watch as we go along. I think sometimes it's much easier to watch and see the technique as opposed to when somebody's speaking. It's harder to follow. Just watch what I'm doing. So as you watch, I also want to encourage you to drop me a question as you watch today's video. After you watch today's video, drop me a question, and those questions I'll answer next week. And I mean questions in regards to box braiding. I will do a video just answering your questions. I do get a couple of people inboxing me about all sorts of questions, but if you're comfortable, leave a comment. That's just as good. And then we will answer those questions. Okay, moving along, I continue to tuck in. Like I said, her hair is so long. It's not that easy to have everything on camera, but I think you get the gist of it. So right now what I'm doing is braiding down. As you can see, I'm trying my best not to tug on her skin, so the braid is not straight from the root. As you can see, I'm trying not to straighten it too much from the root. But I continue to use the same technique, the tucking technique, as we go along. So this is a repetition of what we just did, just to make sure that you see what we did again. And I know some people are braiding for the first time or learning to braid for the first time. Like I said, I prep my daughter's hair, spray it with water, and then I apply shea butter. It's a mixture of shea butter, cocoa butter, coconut butter, and a few more oils. I will share a tutorial on that very soon. It works wonders for our hair, as in it really does moisturize our hair, and we also use it for our skin. So yeah, it's something worth sharing with you guys. Okay, as we move along, you can see I am trying to apply the butter in the lines. Make sure that her scalp is all nice and moisturized, that her hair is all nice and moisturized before I apply the braids. Some of these braids are very dry, like they suck all the moisture out of your hair. So I think it's a good thing to prep your hair before you attempt to attach, especially when your braids are not sleek. The kind of braids that you're using is not the sleek type. I would encourage you to do that. So yes, I'm combing through her hair with a small comb, just because I know that all her hair is detangled, and I'm not taking a risk at all. Okay. So we are going to attach your braid again. Just bear with me. Here we go. And once again, I will not say much. I would rather you watch, because sometimes talking can be distracting. Okay, I am taking my time just to make sure that you watch what I'm doing and that it all makes sense. So basically what I'm trying to do here is to pinch a bit of the braiding hair, attach it to her natural hair, so that in all the three portions we have a bit of her hair, but we also have a bit of the braiding hair. I showed you this last week, and if you weren't able to watch last week's video, you might want to go back and see last week's tutorial that said come and learn box braiding with me. I was very slow and took my time showing you this technique. That is why I'm not explaining much of it right now, because I know that you watched my video from last week, and if you didn't, please do make time and watch it. Yeah, sometimes the hair tangles up, the braiding hair, and I have to run my fingers through to make sure that it's all detangled to be able to continue to braid down. That's what's happening right there. If you look at that box braid, it's not tight. I am making sure that nothing is very tight to cause any tension on the scalp. Because even as I run through my fingers, it looks like I'm tugging, but I'm not really tugging. I'm being very careful to make sure that I don't cause any tension on her scalp. Spray a little bit of water again just to help me detangle those braids, and then continue to braid down. As you can see. So I am coming to the end, and that's why you cannot see the bottom of this braid now, because I'm trying to braid down. When you look at this braid, there was a little bit of more tension applied at the top, but like I said, there's a way to straighten it up. But right now my focus is on braiding down until I'm done, and I've done a knot to stop it from unraveling, and then eventually that would be my last task, to come back and straighten that braid. I find this very the bigger box braids are very good, so they give me a break from having to comb my daughter's hair every morning, and as you know, it tangles up and then all of that. Okay, we're coming to an end guys here. As you can see, I am almost there. I have about 6 or 9 braids to finish this. She's really tired, so am I. So we are going to take a break, and I think that's all I had to share with you on camera today. I am going to give you a picture of the final product. As you can see, the box braids are not kind of aligned, but like I said, it was very intentional for the lines, and they're not very tight either. I wanted you to see how they would spread. So guys, that's an up close of the finished product. I'm showing you the edges. I know a lot of people braid their hair and they want to pick every single bit of hair at the edges. So to save your edges, I leave that baby hair. I don't have to touch it. We can brush it. I can spray water over it and just brush it. And some of you might say, oh, it's easier for you because of the hair type. Not really, for any hair type. As you can see, that I left out intentionally because those are typical areas where the hair really does break. That's the back, as you can see the braids. So I'm basically just sharing with you what it looks like. Yeah, we are done and ready for our week. This will probably last another 3-4 weeks before I take them out, but in between I will have to spray her hair and then just put some butter between the lines and gently rub it in without causing any friction. So that's the back. I'm showing you how the aligning of the lines looks like. Those are the actual braids, what they look like. And I think that's it for now. That's all we had for this week. I hope you had fun. Subscribe, comment, and see you next week.